have a touch of OCD. And the specter of OCD has haunted my family for as long as I can remember, most likely through several generations. My dad, for example, will eat a meal, and if there's a bottle of soda, will carefully peel the label off the bottle of soda at every single opportunity, depositing the pieces in a cup at the table. And when he was a lawyer, he used to make his own Post-its by carefully ripping up old paper that he would force the secretaries to save and ripping them into even squares very slowly and methodically and leaving them in a cute little pile on his desk, and he'd use them for notes. And watching somebody do that, you watch them doing it very carefully and slowly, and you're like, something's not right with that person. That's OCD. It's sort of a focus. It's hard to explain. My siblings, I have 2 sisters and a younger brother, all have it to some degree. One of the best times that I can remember was summer, because summer meant sunburns. And sunburns meant skin peeling, and many a long summer night was spent with the siren song of all of us children sitting around in I guess, a skin-peeling circle jerk. The sounds of squeak, squeak, as we pulled off pieces of skin, trying desperately to get one that was large enough to write on. For me, OCD manifests in a slightly different way sometimes. I don't like abnormalities on the otherwise smooth surface of my Grecian body. If I find some kind of a little bump or something, I'm going to worry at it. If I find some kind of pimple or, skin tang or whatever, I'm just going to pick at it and scratch it, and not even something I can control. And it's just one of those things that you can see that I will do forever until I am stopped. And there's a real fear that someday I could really become a war criminal and do something really horrible to a large number of people if it was just organized really well and then like set to a beat. When I was 14, I grew a planter's wart in the bottom of my foot, and I was constantly scratching at it. And so finally, mom took me to the doctor, and so he gave me some mustard paper to put on it. You're supposed to just cut off like a little circle, large enough to cover the wart. And so I just stuck the whole piece in the bottom of there, and ended up killing a playing card section off the bottom of my foot of skin, and then I had to take it off. So I, instead of doing it in some, I guess, acceptable fashion, I scraped it off one glorious weekend with my sister's hairbrush. Just slowly, like I'm whittling, just scraping with that hairbrush, and just looking at it with that OCD stare, watching the pieces come off. And then walking around the rest of the summer with like a footprint that's got like a square hole in it. I think of other really good examples. I had an office job, and I had a stapler, and the demon takes over when I'm looking at the stapler as I'm stapling something one day, and I'm kind of like, I wonder how hard it would need to press this for it to staple through my skin. And so I'm just sitting there with the stapler, just kind of bouncing it off my arm, and it's like, there's part of your brain that knows this is really terrible what you're doing. But there's this other part that's just fascinated, and just kind of like, this hard? No. This hard? How about this ka-chunk? Oh, there we go. And then trying to explain to people in the office why you have a stapler bed in your arm, and saying like, well, I was playing. And then getting a new stapler a month later, and being like, I wonder how much harder I'd have to hit this stapler than the other one. Oh, there we go. Now having a stapler embedded in my arm. And it really hurt. And it really makes you wonder what's wrong with you that you would do something like that. But it's just sort of a focused kind of thing that you get into for those of you that have it. And when you see somebody who's got it, they get the stare. They get the OCD stare, which is kind of like a cat stare. It's like you're sort of aroused, and you're just really like, huh, this is fascinating. One time I walked into my girlfriend and she was tweezing her bikini line, which I'd never seen before. And so I sat down on the bed and she's not enjoying it, because apparently it's not enjoyable. And at one point she's just like, I don't suppose you'd be interested in helping me a little bit here, because that's kind of awkward and hard to do. And I've never seen it, so I leaned over close, and it was bad news, because I could feel it after a second, watching the hairs come out one at a time. Just like, yeah, I'll do this for you. And then sitting there, tweezing it, and then like 5 or 10 minutes later, she's like, it's really starting to hurt. No. You will lie there until it is even. And then she started to protest, and she looked up and saw my face just staring down in a way I'd never quite stared like there before, which wasn't looking like I was going to do anything good. She said, okay. And I proceeded to tweeze the shit out of her for a long time. One time I was working on a model airplane, and I had this X-Acto knife, and it slipped. And I accidentally cut off this birthmark right here, just sliced it right off. So, cut it off, and it's just kind of like, ow, painful. And now I'm looking down at the hole, and the birthmark lying on my desk, and then it's like, just like a puzzle piece. I wonder if I could just put it back. No harm trying. So I put it back, and then I was like, yeah, as long as I'm putting it back, it's kind of round. I wonder if I could trim the edges off and make it square. So I took the birthmark back out, and then trimmed it until it was square. And just so you guys know, I'm not bullshitting you. And then what I did was I waited a few minutes until I had enough blood left over to congeal and squish around it, like fill it in like I was caulking it. But it grew back perfectly fine. So something inside me has some kind of knowledge that I listen to. My sister shares the same sort of body thing that I do, hates the zits. My younger sister, Judy. Many times we would run into each other and be just like, got a zit, can't reach it, take it off. So we would squeeze each other's zits like loving siblings do. And it was just so fascinating that I decided I was going to see if it was possible to create a really amazing zit for my sister. So I spent a couple of weeks rubbing dirt and olive oil into a patch on my thigh and covering it up with saran wrap. One of the reasons why I'm doing this story, so when I tell you the hooker stories on the other shows, you'll be happier to hear that. Anyway, so I spent a couple of weeks rubbing dirt and olive oil and covering it with saran wrap and tape so it wouldn't accidentally get washed. And then finally I developed this enormous blackhead, this like bullseye blackhead in the middle of this little red mountain. And I was really trying to save it for her, and she was so excited. It was like Christmas, like she's like, please, you gotta tell me when you're ready to do this, because I want to be there. And she was so excited about it, she didn't even want to use her fingers because she felt like she wouldn't be able to get the proper amount of squeezing. So she had a couple of toothbrushes that she had ready that she was going to use as implements, I guess. But I got out of the shower one day, it was really bothering me bad, and it looked like it was going to go on its own, and it wasn't going to have that. So I did it myself, and she found out. She was banging on the bathroom door, yelling at me, and then when I came out, she yelled at me and punched me, and then she started to cry. She was very upset. Oh, and the wart. I should tell you how that ended up. So years passed, and the wart, I guess, was not fully destroyed in the process, and it grew back and was just getting worse and really hard to deal with. And so I was in living room at the time, and had another X-Acto knife, and was using it for a model, and watching late night TV, and kind of picking at it a little. And I noticed that if you've ever really looked close up at a wart, it sort of kind of pokes up through the skin, like it's not really attached to the skin itself. And then I hear that voice. Oh, it's not really attached to the skin. Goes down inside the skin like a plant. And yeah, part of me watching the TV, and I hear the voice, and you're kind of like, oh, not now. Wonder if you could dig down into your skin and see where that wart goes. They're kind of picking at it, and it really hurts. But it's like when you're a parent and you learn to ignore a crying child that's just crying. It's so sad, and you're just like, yeah. And this thing really, I'm just sitting there kind of like, part of me is like, and there's this other voice that's like, wow, it goes in pretty deep. Does it have roots? Look at that, it has roots. They're white. That's amazing. Isn't that amazing? Wonder if it hurts if you cut those roots. Just, oh, look at that, it hurts. Wow, it hurts really bad, doesn't it? Wow. Wonder if those roots have an end deep in there. Yeah, you're going to have to go look. You're gonna have to go in there. Look at that, they do, they stop. I suppose you could just cut them off. Yeah, you can cut them all off. Now that hurt really bad, but now you know how much each root hurts. It's just a matter of time. There you go. So that went for hours. And I woke up the next morning and stomped my way out to the breakfast table, and my mother saw a pile of blood on my footsteps. I thought that I bandaged it with a handy pair of underwear and some duct tape that I had lying around because I wasn't going to go to the bathroom. It's the middle of the night. Oh my God, what happened to your foot? Oh, I cut the wart out last night. I got bored. Oh my God. And then, of course, I'm like looking at the rest of my family, and the dad and my siblings, who all get the slack-jawed. Who here wants to see the hole in my foot? I pulled my foot up on the breakfast table with my mom, who's sort of normal, going like, oh my God. Show them all the hole. Who wants to put their finger into the hole in my foot? And they all did. Especially my sister Judy, whom I love very much.